All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe Imbriano. We're gonna give it just a moment here, but this is a live lunchtime broadcast, and I want you to bear with me here while we have a talk, okay, folks? Let me wait until the notifications come in. Can you guys see me okay out there? All right, we're out in the field right now, doing some investigative work. Let me wait until the notifications come up. All right. Let's see what's going here. It's going to be an important broadcast right now. I know it's an off hour, but I'm out and about right now, and in the usual spirit of things, I want to talk to you about something. I want you to have a look at something, folks. I want you to have a look at this infrastructure. I want you to look at these wires, okay? Take a look at this. Can you folks see all this equipment up there? Can you see? You guys see all that stuff? Okay, can you see all that telecommunications equipment up there? Do you guys see it? All right. This is a power pole. It's owned by Edison, and it's a street light. There's some power lines up there, and on the lower levels here are the cable company's hookups. See these big fat black cables with these junction boxes? That's the fiber optic backbone for the 5G systems, ladies and gentlemen. Have a look at it. Now, here's the question I have for you. Here's the question I have for you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, that's for the 5G backbone. They're going to hook that stuff up to wireless devices. Now, let me ask you a question. They're going to put 5G transmitters on every one of these poles. Now, I'm going to ask you a question right here. Why can't they connect a wire? Why can't they connect a wire from this pole to this house? Why do they have to blanket the whole neighborhood with millimeter waves, ladies and gentlemen? Did you hear what I just said? Did you hear what I just said, folks? If they're going through all this trouble to hang all this thick black cable all over these poles, then why is it that they can't run another 15 feet of cable to the house? Everyone's got these wires running through their backyards. Why does wireless have to be the endpoint connection? Why is that, ladies and gentlemen? Every single one of these houses in all these neighborhoods, I don't care where you go in Southern California, all these tract homes have an electrical connection going to the pole from the house. They've got a cable connection going from the pole to the house. They've got a telephone connection going from the pole to the house. I have a question, ladies and gentlemen. Why can't this new fiber optic system they're putting in have a connection from the pole to the house, ladies and gentlemen? Why do they have to put millimeter wave transmitters to get the signal to the house? Why? There's nobody outside right now. You don't have to have the bandwidth in your driveway. It should be up to people. I mean, look, there's the backyards, right? See the poles? Everywhere you look, folks, they've got these poles in the backyards. with a connection from the electricity from the transformer, dropping down from the top tier to the middle one. And there's a direct 220 link with a guy wire to the main, and then it goes to the breaker box, right? They're not delivering electricity wirelessly to your house. They could if they wanted to. Technology exists. Where is everybody? You guys listening to me right now? Think about this for just a moment, folks. Go look in your backyard. Look at the utility pole in your backyard, if you got one. Generally, there's a transformer every couple poles. Electricity comes in on the top, 2 or 3 wires, depending on how screwed up your city is, how dangerous the system is. There's a wired connection for the electricity from the pole to your house. There's a wired connection for your cable company from your pole to your house. There's a wired connection for your telephone line from the pole to your house. Why is the fiber optic cable that has been laid in the ground and up the poles and across the poles, why is there not going to be a link from the pole to your house to that fiber optic cable with a cable? Why does it have to be wireless? Why, ladies and gentlemen? Because they want to irradiate us. Millimeter waves are a weapon. 5G will deploy millimeter waves. These big, thick, black cables are hanging all over these poles. Ladies and gentlemen, if an Ethernet cable coming out of the back of my cable modem that goes to a router can be the thickness of some $5 piece of junk I can get on eBay, and it can run 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 computers in my house at the same time with the splitter or two, why can't, hang on for just a second, hang on for just a second, folks. Let me get away from this noise. All right. If a $5 cable can run 5 computers, why is it that they can't run a $5 cable from the pole to your house? Huh? Why is that? Why is that, folks? See this? Why can't they run? You see the black thick cable right up there? See all that? There are going to be millimeter wave antennas in every one of these poles, and instead of a wire going to the house, you know what it's going to be? You know what it's going to be, folks? It's going to be a 5G millimeter wave beamforming antenna. See this? Look at this. What's one more wire, folks? Seriously, what's one more wire? Look, you already got enough of them up there, right? What's one more wire coming off of that pole? Well, I gotta get away from this trash truck. Look, folks, millimeter waves are a weapon. Millimeter waves have been known to be a weapon, have been known to cause nerve damage, mitochondrial damage, affect oxygen molecules, hemoglobin in your blood, brain function, nervous system function, coordination, cognitive function. So why are they going to stick a transmitter up here instead of another freaking wire to the house? Because it's an agenda, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you go to 5gdangers.com, if you go to 5gdangers.com, ladies and gentlemen, you can see can see, folks, the report on the front page. You can download the 90 pages. It's there permanently on my website, thefulllieutenantinformer.com. 5gdangers.com, folks. Google it. You can read all about what this stuff does to you, and this report was published in 1977, 42 years ago. It's a CIA declassified document from the Soviet Union. Experts on microwave and millimeter wave weaponry. That's right. That's right. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. 5G is an agenda. Look at these poles. See them? There's no reason why they can't run that fiber optic to the house. Okay, let me show you the new stuff that's coming. We're getting close to a part of this neighborhood that just had the new stuff put in. See, they go to all this trouble to hang these cables and wires everywhere, right? Because it's so important that we have access to this incredible technology called 5G, right? And yet it's going to be carried through the backbones of cables. Okay, all of the 5G connectivity in the neighborhoods is going to be run off of microcell towers. They're going to put these little antennas all over the power poles, all over the telephone poles, ladies and gentlemen. That's what they're going to do. Okay. See that? They go through all this trouble to hang all this cable up here, right? You see all that? See these junction boxes? How come they can't hook up the wire to the house? Why? Why is that? Well, I can't believe most people can't figure out what's being done. This is indeed an agenda. This is indeed a weapon system, but most importantly, it is a surveillance grid that they're setting up as well, because it will integrate in with the street lights. It'll integrate in with your appliances. They want everything, ladies and gentlemen. They want everything connected to their surveillance grid. That's right. See, look at this. I mean, look at this. Look at the fat, thick cables here. This is the one running down the middle, going to this other set of houses. But look at this. They've gone through all this trouble and hanging all this cable that's sagging these poles. There's so much weight on these things. Look at this. Yet they don't want to run one more wire to the house, right? Does that not reek of an agenda, folks? Does that make any sense? Why can't we have fiber optic to the house? Why can't we have fiber optic connectivity to the house? Let me ask you a question. Look at this fat cable they put up there. You see it? Big fat one. Sucker's heavy. Did you know that we have fiber optic connectivity in every classroom in the United States of America? And because of Project Inkwell and Obama and Bill Gates and Common Core, that demands wireless devices. It's the same thing in the classrooms, folks. Just look at this. Just look at this for a minute, folks. Think about this. Every single classroom in the United States has fiber optic cable in the walls. Every one. And yet, the kids are forced to use wireless devices instead of sitting at desks with Ethernet cables, plugging their stuff in. Look at this. Look at all these cables. Look at this. Look at the size of this stuff. See those orange labels? That's the fiber optic backbone of 5G right there, folks. Look at this stuff. Look at this stuff. Okay, and you can see it go down the neighborhoods. And here's the deal. They are not going to have a fiber optic cable to your house. There's going to be a 5G millimeter wave antenna on the pole instead. Instead of a cable, you're going to get irradiated. Your whole backyard, your whole house. And you're going to have an uplink in your house picking up that signal to retransmit it. And that's going to be called Y-Gig. That's coming. This stuff isn't here yet, folks. What you're looking at right now is the foundation being laid for the weaponry, okay? That's what this stuff is. That's the foundation for the weaponry, folks. In the classrooms, what they've done, let this guy go by. Boy, that thing's noisy. In the classrooms, what they've done is they have run fiber optic cables to every wall in every classroom in the United States of America, and they're forcing children to get microwaved so they can connect to the internet, when all they have to do is run these $5 cables to each desk. Kids can plug in. You don't have this issue with Wi-Fi. You don't have this issue with hacking. You don't have this issue with not enough bandwidth, not enough availability. They've had this this major bandwidth fiber optic cable in these classrooms for about 5 years. And yet, the problem the schools face is when all these children jump on their devices at the same time, they're running into issues with bandwidth because the access points aren't powerful enough to handle that kind of traffic. So what do the schools do? They get more powerful microwave systems in the classrooms instead of just plug the kids in with Ethernet cables, which could handle tons and tons and tons of bandwidth. You see, this is an agenda, ladies and gentlemen. This is called the wireless agenda. And it's got a couple of purposes, none the least of which is a benefit to anyone but those at the top. I mean, look at this equipment. They go through all this trouble and they can't give you a wire to your house. The last connection has to be a kill grid box. Seriously? The last connection has to be a weapon? Does that sound right? Does that sound right? Look at this. I mean, look at all these frickin' wires. Why can't we just get one more to my peachy house, huh? Come on. You guys need to wake up. This is bullshit, folks. This is complete bullshit what's being done, okay? Look at these big fat cables hanging all over the place, how ugly and disgusting they are. There's nothing aesthetic about this. So if they're gonna have all these cables, can I just get one more to my house so I don't have to get irradiated? Think about it. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. Think about how stupid we are for letting them get away with this. Well, I can't make that statement just yet. You want to know why? Because they haven't gotten away with anything yet. I want you to pay close attention to where these cables are located. They are even providing you access, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Now the weaponry is going to be about 10 or 12 feet off the ground, by the way, because the weaponry signal doesn't travel very far. They got to get it really close to your house. You know what that means? That means you can be very familiar with the weaponry if you choose to be. You can get real up close and personal with it. And you can treat it like your best friend or your worst enemy. As Bobby Round would say, that's my prerogative, right? You folks with me? A lot of trolls here because they're worried, folks. That's right, they're worried. They're worried about how obvious this is. Look at this, seriously. Look at this. They go through all this trouble to put all this in a picturesque neighborhood, right? And yet they can't get a wire to the house, right? See all these wires going across the street to the phone lines and to the electrical box? See that? But yet they don't get one for their internet with the new fiber optic systems that they're putting in. See, that's how this thing's set up, folks. There's the beauty. There's the beauty of nature, of God's creation. Look at this. Look at the radiance and beauty of this, and look at the ugliness of that, okay? The chemtrails and the creation, right? The creation, the backbone of the weaponry. The chemtrails, the creation, folks. You see it? That's right. You guys still with me? Look at these wires. Look at them all. Why can't I have a connection to my house? Why do these guys go through all this trouble to hang all this big, black, bulky, ugly stuff all over the place? And yet, in order to connect to it, we've got to plug ourselves into a kill grid and a surveillance matrix. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think so. We do not consent. All right, so here's where it comes in from the ground, okay? See that? This is how they bring hell on earth up from the depths of the earth. This is the fiber optic backbone for the coming 5G, folks. See this stuff? I want you to, anytime you see where it says fiber optic cable, that's where they're going to stick the stuff, folks. And as you see, those cables are low and thin. Let's hope the rats don't mistake them for a peanut butter sandwich. But why can't they put a wire there, folks? Why? Why do we have to get irradiated with millimeter waves to watch Netflix? Why? Because they want to be able to read everything you do, see everything you do, have these LED streetlights double as cameras and 3D imaging systems. Put cameras everywhere, hook it all into this matrix, have your appliances spy on you, have your smart meter spy on you, have your smart meter irradiate you, have your appliances irradiate you, have the millimeter wave beamforming antennas give you cancer and demyelinated nerves, emotional, physical, biological disturbances that will be treated as pandemics and will result in forced vaccinations. Already talked about this, folks. Look, folks, don't worry about these people that don't believe this. They're being paid to come here. They're being paid to interfere with this discussion. They're being paid, folks, because the industry is in the midst, the wireless industry right now is in the middle of a covert takeover of the United States, and 5G is really an act of high treason and an act of, I guess for lack of a better term, it's a total invasion of our country. Because with this 5G will come the back door to all of our critical infrastructure. I mean, we already know that there are countries that have put back doors in all this technology, especially the country that this technology was developed in. 5G was developed in Israel by Qualcomm. And we know that some of the most technologically advanced people that create this kind of technology, if it was so great, they'd be putting it in their own country, and they're not. So if it stands to reason that they've invented it, and it is capable of inflicting harm, and it is capable of massive surveillance, and it is capable of spying on us, and it is capable of causing harm to this nation's infrastructure by allowing people to have remote backdoor access to critical infrastructure systems, and yet they don't want to put it in their own country, that tells you everything you need to know about 5G and who's behind it, folks. And so what you need to do is protect yourselves, and you need to resist the installation of the coming antennas. Do not let these people on your property. Do not let these people in your yard. Photograph these people. Get their faces on camera when they try to trespass on your property to install the weaponry. Try to find out who they are, where they live, and do your best to publicize who the assailants are and the companies that they work for, and physically stop them from putting any of this on your property. That's all I can tell you right now, because it's not here yet. And in order for this system to work, they've got to get it in front of every one of our houses, outside your bedroom windows or your apartment window. You landowners out there, you may have some commercial property where this stuff is going. You need to wake up and not just roll over and let them weaponize your gold mine, because that's what they're trying to do. You people understand? Now here's the other problem. The millimeter waves broadcast at frequencies that RF detectors are not available to evaluate the levels and the frequencies. The decent tri-field meters on the market now only go up to about 8 gigahertz. And, you know, we need something above 28 gigahertz up to 100 gigahertz to figure out how much and where it's coming from once this stuff's installed. It's really difficult to gauge that right now unless you have an oscilloscope. Those are fragile and very expensive. So in the meantime, we've got to use our eyes to see what these antennas look like. And go online and look up what 5G beamforming antennas look like, and that's what you want to be on the lookout for as these weirdos show up on your property with these yellow vests with an unmarked vehicle telling you they've got to go work on the pole. They can go work on a pole, all right, and it ain't going to be the one in your backyard, folks. You guys got to wake up. You got to wake up, folks. All right, that's the end of this broadcast, folks. I just had to throw this at you because this is far too important to ignore, and this is a very good example of how the infrastructure is moving ahead in terms of the backbone being set up in residential neighborhoods, getting ready for the deployment of these millimeter wave weaponry systems that they're trying to ram down our throats as the neatest thing since sliced bologna. I got news for you, folks. I ain't putting up with this. Neither should you. Now, just a word to the wise about millimeter waves. They damage your eyes. They damage your skin. They damage your nerves. And they affect the oxygen molecules in the air that you breathe. And they affect the hemoglobin cells, the hemoglobin molecules in your body. They affect the mitochondria of your cells, which is the source of all illness, ladies and gentlemen. They're going for broke on this, folks. They're going for broke. All right? We need to wake up and say no. That's right. And while you're at it, why don't you ask your teacher or your principal or your PTA president why they have to microwave the children with 35 cell phones broadcasting called iPads right in their laps all day underneath an access point that's designed to run a department store. You know what those levels are in the classrooms? Those are microwaves, not millimeter waves. They're dangerous. Millimeter waves are a different animal, folks. Your kid coming home with headaches, nosebleeds, can't sleep, ringing ears, nausea. That's the early symptoms. You know what the long-term prognosis is for a kid in a wireless classroom? Infertility, cancer. That's right. Especially the girls. Especially the girls that keep the iPads on their ovaries with the antenna right on their belly button. I've been warning folks for years. I'm going to keep warning you. Because guess what, folks? We've all got a calling. Mine just happens to be the truth. This is Joe Imbriano, the Fullerton Informer. P.O. Box 4121, Fullerton, California, 92834. Coming at you live from the streets of Orange County. Walking through a neighborhood that is about to be weaponized, ladies and gentlemen. This one could be yours.